You lock the door, you put it in the door and you lock the door.
Right.
That's unfortunately. That's what one opinion is, and that is because it's kaddish. You can't be makravit, so you can't do anything with it, so you let it die. He says, mehen, but there are other meforshim, she'omrim, you don't let it die. She'mamtin lo olam, you wait it out till the navel gets a mum. Then it's the b'chor with the mum. Yochol b'mum, kamo b'chol makom. B'chol adam shirtz, like any b'chor that has a mum. B'chol adam shirtz, I call it no, because even by a mum you have to give it to the kohen, and the kohen could have anyone eat it. B'chulin hu nechshav, kamo shekasu b'tamei v'tor yachtav. So anyway, he's bringing this machlokas that when you don't have a beis hamikdash, what do you do? Because you can't be makravit. We're talking about b'chor, that's a tam. So you can't be makravit, so what do you do with it? So he said two opinions. One opinion is it's holy and you can't do anything with it, and you lock it up in a room and let it die on its own. And the other opinion is you graze it until it gets a mum, and then it's a bechor with a boom, and you could eat it. I mean, it's still matanos kohen, so it goes to the kohen, but anyone could eat it because then it's eaten like regular chulin, without pigeon or anything like that.
So
because that's
according to first opinion, it's usher to let it graze, or
that's what it seems to be. That's what he's going to talk about. I'm not familiar with the Gemara in the Old but that's what I think this whole Shteklement of Chinuch has discussed. What's this thing about? The Old Delos. Okay, so I'm going to read it, but my sight isn't that good, so if I make a lot of mistakes, you'll have to correct me. So that's what you got, right?
Right.
Lav daf chutz la'aretz. This is not only true by an animal in chutz la'aretz, because we said before in the chutz la'aretz it's kaddish, but there's no inyan of being makravit. Right. So that's the case where you have a b'chor tam that's kaddish, but there's no inyan of being makravit. So he says not only in the case where it's chutz la'aretz, but he says b'zman hazeh, you have the same situation nowadays where it is no beis hamikdash, so there's no akrava. B'zman hazeh kiven she'ein mikdash. The same thing with the same shadow would be, what do you do with it? B'zman hazeh in Eretz Yisrael, where you can't be makravit. So some shittas would hold the sin of needless dallas, and some people would hold the shitta of mamti until it gets a mum, and then you eat it. Is that pasha? He says it's pasha that there's no difference between in the time of the mikdash, if it was chutz la'aretz where there's no hakrava, or b'zman hazeh where there is no mikdash, even in Eretz Yisrael there's no hakrava.
Is that really that pasha? I mean, I
don't know anything about Bechoros, but that's what he says.
I just can see a chilik in the sense that the animal that's born, the animal that's born chutz la'aretz is not even roy with hakrava. Right. But the animal's born in Eretz Yisrael.
It is roy.
It's roy hakrava. It's just we can't be makravit. So I mean,
I was thinking the same thing, and it's also we always say miheri yibon hamikdash, and maybe it will be makravit.
Right.
But he says pasha. So I don't really. The truth is, I never really learned Bechoros. I learned the little parts of it, but I don't know. Yeah. And but he's saying that pasha, so I'm not going to argue with him. But I hear the chiluk. Umasha kasav no odalos b'fana. But that's that he said. The first shita is that if you're not going to be makravit, you lock it up in a room, and near it, from the actual language of it, it says no odelos b'fana. That's what you're supposed to do. Near it, the sphere lay the chiyav no delos. That they hold. That's what you're supposed to do. Not you, but you're allowed to do it. But your mama should do that rather than be memtin. Right? That's the pashut shot of the language of no odelos. V'ayin b'abod azara daf yigimel abeis and tostin yemaskul noel hikshu amai lo hitzrichu. Because I guess the Omar only discusses that you're no odelos in a case of the time of the mikdash when it was chutz la'aretz, right? And he said we don't find, I guess, in the Gemara that you're no odelos b'zman ha. So then I guess they don't do that nowadays. B'zman hazeh according to Tosos. Ayin shamash tirtzu. I don't know what Tosos answered. Mavur midivreim the ein chiyuv, because Tosos asked the question, am I? It's not really a chiyuv, and because you see from Tosos, I don't know, maybe in his teretz he says it's not a chiyuv. I mean, the way he asked the kasha, am I lo hitzrichu l'nodelos? That seems to me, at least in his kasha, was a chiyuv, right? And that nowadays, maybe in his teretz said it's really not a chiyuv, it's only a reshus, and nowadays we don't give that reshus. I guess he answered that way.
It's strange because it's tiny against his original statement of Pashas. The very fact that Tosfos asked this question, if it was so Pashas, then because Tosfos it wouldn't be need to ask the statement, because
Right. Here. The Ayin, the Mordechai. So I think what he's saying is you have to look up Tosfos' answer, but we don't have Gemaras here. That's one thing wrong in learning in this room. Okay. The Ayin, the Mordechai. Hevi das ha Re'am, that's on the Re'am. The Kasav, the Muchach, the Mutter L'Nodelis. So not that you're Chayav L'Nodelis, the Pshat is you're allowed to be Noel Delis, because I guess the Chiddush is you might think that the animal was Kaddish, and it's a design to Kaddish to be Noel Delis, so they gave you a heter, but not that you're Mechuyev, and you could be Mamtin, but you don't have to be Mamtin, you could, it's Mutter. Meforshim, the Sphirlo Mamtin, those Meforshim who say you are Mamtin, Sphirlo the Osir L'Nodelis, they say you're not allowed to be Noel Delis, and you have to be Mamtin. So it comes out he's saying there's three sheets. There's one sheet that he holds Pashas of the Chinuch as you Noel Delis means you have to be Noel Delis. There's another sheet that you have Rishus to be Noel Delis, and one sheet is you're not allowed to be Noel Delis. You have to be. I think we're dealing with the Rabbanans, but you have to be Mamtin, and you're saying l'chora you could be mechalik between Chutz L'Eretz and Eretz Yisrael, but she says Pasha, but you're saying the Tosfos l'chora held that it was a chiluk. V'ayin Tosfos l'chora is chavches u'barashim sof ha'masachas b'avodah zarah the sover gamkein the osir l'nodelis. He holds like these yesh meforshim that you have to be Mamtin, you're not allowed to be Noel Delis. Lo mi boy Yisrael vadi osir. Not only is the Jew who has this before, he didn't give it yet to the Kohen, he's certainly osir to Noel Delis. Sarach l'kaya and mitzvahs nesin l'kohen, because even though there's no akrava, there's still a mitzvah to give it to the Kohen, so how could he be Noel Delis? He's making mevatel the mitzvah nesin l'kohen. Ella, that Tosfos says, afilu ha-kohen, who already got it, so there's no more nesin l'kohen, it's usher. He's not supposed to be Noel Delis, even though he can't be makrab and he can't do anything with it. He should be mounted until it gets a mum, and it's usher to be Noel Delis, because like he says, it's machmas bizayin kachim. Since the animal is kaddish, it's bizayin to lock it up and let it die. And besides bizayin, it's a hefset to kachim, because if you could wait till it gets a bal mum, it could be, but stem let it die. It's considered a bizayin and hefset. The kol ha-kachim keeping the tzrichim pidyon. He says other kachim that need pidyon. But pidyon yipol yam hamelach, and the pidyon goes to yam hamelach, so that they don't get anything out of that pidyon. Al-kain Noel Delis, so you could have a svara that it's not a hesed to kachim, because anyway they can't get any pidyon out of it, and they can't do anything. Al-kan im yipol bo mum, but over here, if it does get a mum, yochlan of the mumen, it doesn't need pidyon, you could eat it as the bal mum, so it's usher l'hafsid, so you can't waste it. So that's what he means, because by regular cases of kachim that are where there is a din of Noel Delis, the point is over there it's no hefset to kachim, because even if they're going to be poted, they can't use the money. I don't know what the cases are, but it's going to be thrown into yam hamelach. So there's a svara you can be Noel Delis. There is no hefset to kachim, but he says over here the very fact that you could wait and if it's a balmum it could be eaten. So it's not a. So how could it be Noel Delis and be mafsid? So therefore they hold it suster to be Noel Delis. Who besides the hefset, it bizayin kachim gamkin is kachim. So that's why there's a Tosfos that holds like these yesh meforshim that you're not allowed to be Noel Delis.
Are you saying these are all Rabbanans?
I think so. Well, why? I don't think they're psukim. I don't think they would. We'll see what he says, but I can't imagine that these different sheets over here are dealing with shalos of deraisa.
Bizayin kachim, I could agree as
it's an Indian. I could be wrong, but I think it's an Indian. I don't think it's a halacha. But we'll see. Maybe he's going to say it. Well, first, if he doesn't say, maybe we could look up. Well, if he's in nira, so it's according to this shita that it says it's usher. He says the gam suffik b'chor. You have an animal is a suffik b'chor. Afal pi. They know from the Kohen. You don't have to give it to the Kohen because we say Amotzin Chaber Olav right? It's all Sugib Tofsu Kohen, but if he's Tofus, but you don't have to give it to him for sure. He Kol Makam keeping the Roy Lechel B'Mumo L'Bailim, since you could wait till it gets a mum, and then you could eat it, because out Suffolk you're even allowed to eat it. You don't have to give it to the Kohen, and the mum is kosher to eat, even if it's a bechor. Just that there's dinner nesin in the Kohen. Here there's no dinner nesin in the Kohen. Havi bizayin kachim. He says bechor, but it's still a Suffolk of bizayin kachim. If you all know Odelos of bizayin, it shouldn't be able to be no Odelos, because you hold no Odelos as a bizayin kachim. So Suffolk bechor, you'll have to deal with this bizayin also. You can't do it. The Ayim Yeridea Simen Shin Tasif Aleph, the Posek Stam Kisvara Zu, he passes like these Yesh Meforshing that the China brings down, the Osr Leno Delis. You're not allowed to be no Delis, Uvino the Behuda Madurakami Yeridea Simen, can't see it, Pay Aleph on the days, Siv Gimel, Mefal Pol Bazeh, this whole, so it comes out there's three Shitas. If you're Mechuyev to be no Delis, if you're allowed to be no Delis, or it's us to be no Delis, and he says we pass that it's us to be no Delis, the Ein Laharich. So let me just look on the bottom if he says anything about being a deraisa or not. By the way, I see when he first starts off, it's that pasha. There's no chiluk of Bizman HaMikdash Chutz La'aretz or Bizman HaZeretz Yisrael. It says Yesh Shetzidei. There is an opinion that says Shirak b'chutz la'aretz shechiyav b'chor hu midrabanan. In other words, because in the Torah you don't have to give. It's not royal akrava. Midrabanan you bring it to Yerushalayim for akrava kedas l'chinuch according to these shitas. But yesh lahakol avdol. So then you could be no delis. This number is probably what you were saying. Avol Eretz Yisrael Bizman hazeh l'sovrim shechiyu b'hu min Torah. Just like you don't have the mikdash to do it. Yesh lomer shemoda hachinuch she'asur lino delos b'fanav. That's mamash your sir, I think, right? V'chein mashma lashon hachinuch shekaso, and he says heter zeh b'chutz la'aretz. Afal pij Bizman hazeh b'Eretz Yisrael ain't a car, because he says you look at the lashon the chinuch actually mentioned chutz la'aretz. The Minchas Chinuch says it's Pashat Hu Adin even Eretz Yisrael Bizman HaZeh. Right. But he says to take the Chinuch literally, he was mentioning Chutz La'aretz and
in the 1400. I mean,
and he can be mechalik like you're being mechalik. So he says Yesh should seated, and on the bottom where he says who the seated is too small print, so I can't tell you who it was. But anyway, that was your svar. The Arsenal in Odelos, the next one says Chasam Sofer Kosav Shemash No Odelos. B'fanav umunei mimenu ochel, he says choshul sar balechayim. So he's explaining why it should be usher. So he's saying the reason it's usher is not because of bizayin kachim or hefsed. It's an onion of sar balechayim. Rak k'shemizon of olav. He says the only time it's considered sar balechayim if you're mechuyev to give it mazonos. In other words, as your animal, normally as your animal, you're mechuyev to give it mazonos. So then you're in the parsha, you can't be mitzaret, and you can't be no delis. L'chein davke b'zman habayis shechov tipulo al hakohen. B'zman habayis was given to the kohen, and they have to take care of it. O habaylim, but before he gives it to the kohen, he's metapu with it. Havitzar balei chaim. There's a problem with being no delis, and that's why people say it's also no delis, because it's sar balei chaim. Well, masha enkein b'zman hazeh. The Leka Gizber, there's no source of Hektish, there's no Gizber of Hektish. He says it's like Hefker, because you're supposed to, at the Bechor time, it's Kachim, and you don't own Kachim, but there is no Gizber to take care of it. He says, Be'ein Mizonos of Allah Hektish, so there's no Hektish that has to take care of its Mizonos, because there is no Hektish, there is no Gizber Mizmanas there. O al bailav, and therefore he says it's not really the bowels, it's hefker, it's hektish where there's no hektish. So what he says, doesn't really belong to the bowel, because it's kaddish, it's kedushas haguf, so it's not really the bowels. So he says, so therefore you don't have the chiv mizonos, and he's saying a chiddush that if you don't have the chiv mizonos, you don't have to worry about tzar balachayim. If you're mechuyev to take care of it, then you have to worry about tzar balachayim. But if it's hefker, you don't have to get involved, and you don't have to worry about Tzar Balei Chaim. Mutter l'konsol l'kipa, and therefore you could be no del. So he's saying, he's making a chiluk that Bizman HaMikdash in Chutz La'aretz, where it belongs to Hektish and there is a Gizbor, except you're not mechuyev to be makriv.
And but the Balam have a chiyuv to
give it to the Kohen.
But before they give it to the Kohen, they have a chiyuv of
mitzvah with it,
because they have to take care of hektish. Because they're there. Yeah. That's not, it's interesting because I can understand.
I always thought that there's tzara. It comes out he's saying that it's only tzara b'chal and something that you're responsible for, but something you're not responsible for. There's no tzara b'alai. Isn't that what he's saying? I don't know.
Yeah, but it's also a difference between.
The source of tzara b'alai, it says by. If you see someone's more struggling,
right,
you have to help, and the more goes into tzara, and that's not yours, but you're achroiv because the other guy, he's muchayev in tzara, so therefore
you should help him out.
Harvest like something like that. But if something is completely hefker, you don't have to worry about tzara. I didn't know that.
There's another difference between a kumbha say versus a shevel tase. In other words, I can understand to say to me, I don't have to feed that animal. Right, it's hungry, but I don't have to feed it. But
to actually be no dollars, starve it is a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he seems to be saying a general principle that an hefker there's no tsar balachayim.
I mean, the fact is, can you go up to an animal because you don't own it, and from when I learned tsar balachayim, I can't. If you just go up to a stray dog in the.
I also thought that tsar balachayim by hefker.
Yeah, that's
he's saying is this is also himself. I don't know.
Like no Dallas. That seems very. I'm trying to remember.
He says that some server on the bottom. I was looking at the small print. He says Yeridayah, Siman Shin Yud Down Shim Yud. Yes.
Let's really spend time with Rabbi Hochman. I'm trying to remember.
I mean, the word has stories during Gamliel that he was punished because he didn't have Rachmanis and the animal wasn't his own animal.
Right, but it was his own animal. I mean, he's making a chiluk between your own animal and stuff like that. But it
wasn't his own animal. It could be a stam of
Well, Gamliel, it wasn't. Oh, I'm thinking of Rebbe with his own. What was Rebbe Gamliel's case?
Maybe I'm thinking the case of Rebbe too. There was his own animal there?
The animal that father was.
I'm going to have to see the Chassam Sofer. He says where it is, I'm going to have to look it up.
But I really can understand it that I don't have to take care of a stray animal.
But not to be mitzaret.
Not to be mitzaret.
I hear you, Philip. But if there's a rule, there's no tzar b'alchayim. I don't know what this is mitzaret either. If there's such a thing, there's no tzar b'alchayim, but something which is hefker.
So he's saying, the whole concept of tzar b'alchayim only applies to animals that you.
No, I remember there's a whole chew in the Note of Yehuda about hunting.
Right.
And one of the problems of hunting is you're mitzar the baal chai. And he ends up it's mutter because you're allowed to be mitzar for your own
benefit.
And that's a benefit if you enjoy hunting. And, so that's a benefit. But if it wasn't for the benefit, I'm pretty sure he said there's a problem with tzar b'al time. And there, when you're hunting, we're talking about pressure. The normal case of hunting is you're hunting hefkerdik animals, and he certainly was dealing with tzar b'al time. It could be your like there you're causing the tzar. I understand. But he does say it's tzar by chayim by hefker.
And then they bring up the issue of Elzarius. I mean, the fact is he eventually says
that's a different inyan.
Yeah.
But he seems to be saying so. It's not mizonos sakalacha.
Right.
Mizonos valacha. There's no tzar b'al. Probably like you're saying, because as far as you don't have to feed it, so you see there's no tsar about time.
But I think your argument is correct. The Chassam Sofer is not making that distinction. The Chassam Sofer says there's no inyan of tsar about time.
Right.
But you're right. The Note of Yehuda is the argument against hunting would be that argument, and it's obviously talking about hefker.
I would have to look up.
That's
a chiddush to get Chassam Sofer.
It's remarkable. It's really
But anyway, nowadays, he's saying nowadays there's no Adela. Certainly the Minchas Chinuch didn't say like that. And he wasn't knowledge between Bisman Abayis, whatever you hold Bisman Abayis, you hold Bisman What is that?
The Chinuch isn't paskening. The Chinuch is just saying, no, is he actually paskening this? He's quoting one side of the argument.
Yeah, so he's just saying that why did he say Chutzlaretz? Why did he say even his Manazah, which would be more practical? Why would he pick in the case of Chutzlaretz? That was so Minchas Chinuch says don't be medayik. That he probably meant it's true by him. He's pashut that he means nowadays telling people that aren't happy with that because it would have been easier for the Chinuch to say that case rather than Chutzlaretz.
Yeah. He's just bringing down the thing. But it seems to be that what you're saying, there's these two shitas, and both shitas are, what do they mean? That there's, like,
I don't even understand the words of the Chinuch. How do you translate the words? What does he mean?
Oh, wow.
That's a funny way of talking.
And it's bringing down both arguments.
Maybe he's talking in his days. We're in Chutzlaretz and Lano Mikdash, and that's I don't know. But I don't know.
Because you're right. If it's but Chutzlaretz, it should apply.
It's helpful to say, and there's no Mikdash in Chutzlaretz. You know.
Right.
So what did he mean? The Chutzlaretz she'ein lano Mikdash. Even when there was a Mikdash Chutzlaretz, he didn't have to be makriv. And it means nowadays, why dafka Chutzlaretz? Why not Eretz? Why not Eretz Yisrael?
Right. It's really.
She'ein lano Mikdash.
It's a very strange language. Right. Chutzlaretz will be the same thing as with Lano Mikdash, and Lano Mikdash applies even not Chutzlaretz.
So maybe there's no corrections. Maybe it should be Uka Shein Lano Mikdash. And I was meaning and the case of Shein Lano Mikdash, like even Bisman Hazeh, even not in Chutzlaretz. Maybe that's what was written, because the way it's written is certainly not a way to write.
Right. When they put together this one, they had manuscripts and stuff, didn't they?
They did. But we've come across cases that there are mistakes in the new ones too.
Right.
But, you can't be perfect over here. Oh, I got word. My son called Sunday that my Sefer on the Midbar came out, and he has it in Eretz Yisrael.
Oh, great!
So that means it'll come. If they're shipping, it'll come with like in 2 or 3 weeks.
Time for Dvarim.
Time for Dvarim. Maybe Grammatis Masa, I don't know. But anyway, Baruch Hashem, he said he has it. I didn't speak to him, but he's left a message that he got it.
You worked through all those
questions and mistakes. So whatever I could do, I did. The other ones I couldn't do them. I couldn't do some. I figured out what the problem was.
There was something I was working on. They said, I have to see the Rebbe writes, and on this, and, right? They say, wait a second, the Midbar's not here. I can't look it up.
Yes, well, how much do they have? They only have a few things in each parsha. I remember one thing that was driving me crazy. Maybe I told you. He asked me, you quote a sefer called Minchas Avram and the Minchas Chinuch. And they said, we can't find it, we never heard of it, where is it? And I never heard of such a sefer either. It could be 15 years ago I heard it. I saw it brought down and I brought it down, but I looked around and no one ever brings the Minchas Avram and the Minchas Chinuch, and it said, he said Simon, I think it said Memhei, and they said, we can't find such a sefer. So then, after hours and hours, maybe a couple of days, I was racking my mind to try to find the sefer, and I couldn't find it. So then I figured out what happened. That this was a sugya, it was not the Gemara Malachos. He's a famous sefer for a present person, but he's like, I think he's a brisker, but he has in the Olam Yeshivas it's used a lot, the sefer. That's what my sons told me and everything like that. People, it's called Minchas Avram. Right. So I probably write. They don't get it typed for me, but especially in the mid wasn't typed in Yeshiva, they get my handwriting. So I probably wrote Minchas Avraham Al Menachos Mem Nun Ches. Maybe I put the line in the wrong place, and I thought it meant Minchas Avraham An Minchas Chinuch. And it really was the daf was Memhe, what they quoted the simon. There's no such simon in Minchas Chinuch. It doesn't talk about Minchas Chinuch, and Memhe was talking about Kibbut Avim. They said it doesn't make sense. So I really figured it was, and it's probably what happened. That it wasn't Minchas Chinuch. It was An Menachos daf Memhe, which was the daf, which that sugi is talking about.
Right.
So I wrote them, but it took me hours, but days really, to try to figure out, because I couldn't understand. I wouldn't make up a sefer.
Right.
And sometimes I don't know the sefer. Another sefer quotes it.
Right.
But I couldn't find what sefer was quoting it, and no one ever heard of the sefer. It's not in any catalogs, it's not in Hebrew books or anything like that. Because I asked people to check it. So I'm sure that's what happened. It's my fault because my handwriting is no good. I don't type, so they get certain ones were typed in the yeshiva.
Right.
So that's more legible. Even though then even I go over it, there's still mistakes even after I go over it that I miss, because you can't edit your own stuff. You don't realize your own. Sometimes you find it. But I'm sure that's what happened when it was typed over. Either they probably typed it over my handwriting. They probably thought the knuckles was Minchas.
Most times you just gave it to some secretary who typed it, especially in Eretz Yisrael, because it's Hebrew.
It could be, as my mistake, could be knuckles should be the line after the ches. Could be it was between the nun and the ches. I didn't think it was Minchas. But anyway, but that's like one case. It drove me crazy for a long time, and that's what I figured out. And now, it's done now.
So now starts tomorrow.
They have shtickle chan dvarim, but I don't even know what they have. I have to say, because the truth is, when it was typed in the yeshiva, it was the yeshiva was here, and their kids went home for Shabbos. Dvarim is mostly in the summertime.
Right.
So I had my chumash here, but I didn't.
Right.
She wasn't here, so it wasn't really typed. It was only things that I wrote, and I didn't even keep it read as a shtickle Torah, because it wasn't for the yeshiva. I just wrote notes.
Right.
So, but they do have some shtickle on dvarim. We'll see. But anyway, it's not going to be nagaya for this dvarim, for sure. So for the next year's dvarim, maybe I have what they're working on here. Okay. Anyway, so that's about Noel Delos. But I wanted to see if anyone says that this Noel Delos is the rice or the Rabbanan. He doesn't see, unless the bottom part he says, but I don't. To me, it's natural. The whole thing is that in this whole month, but it's a three-way shittas. So it's a big thing if you have these three shittas. What the Gemara means when it says no Delos. Okay,
and the Gemara doesn't. The Gemara actually only presents two shittas, right? It only presents that no Delos, or so it has to be that there's two different understandings of no Delos. Whether it's a chiyuv or rishus, and then in nafal bomum, whether it becomes that itself it would be a machlokas, whether you have to do that or whether you could also be
but I don't understand if the Gemara gives the case of no Delos. So these gays reformers say you're not allowed to be no Delos. What do they do with that Gemara? I mean, if the Gemara actually says no Delos, so you can have a shiloh. The Gemara makes a chiyuv or rishus. But these Yesh Meforshim say you have to be mamti, and you're not allowed to be Noel Delos because it's bizayon.
Right.
So what do they do with the Gemara's language of Noel Delos?
That's the other sheet. I mean the other sheet.
And you think these sheets are in the Gemara itself?
That's what I'm wondering. I
don't know. To me, it was mashwas. Yesh Meforshim is a big.
Let's say the Gemara makes a distinction between Noel Delos and mamtin. So the people who hold mamtin hold that Noel Delos is also.
Yeah, so
that's one way of understanding.
Yeah, but the Gemara probably says Noel Delos. I have to look at the Gemara inside. To me, it's mash with the Gemara says Noel Delos. So I don't know what those Eish Meforshim do. Okay, let's go back there. I have to look inside the Gemara. Okay, nafal bomum. So the next halacha in the chinuch was after he brought this child of Noel Delos or mamtin, then he says nafal bomum. If the animal, which was a tam, gets a mum, then yokel b'mum b'chol because a b'chor b'mum, even though it was kaddish, it doesn't eat pigeon. It gets a mum, and it doesn't have to be eaten in Yerushalayim or anything like that. It's like chulin. Anyone could eat it. It still has to be given to a kohen, a shiur kohen. But the kohen is allowed to give it to anyone to eat because it's like chulin. The chulin hu nechshev. We have to remember that. Even though it's like chulin, but there's still halachas even about moment because it's usher begiz of Aser B'Giza Ba'avoda. So there's some kind of laws attached to it which seem to imply there is some kind of level of kedusha that it's Aser B'Giza Ba'avoda. But he says as far as eating it, it has a straight halacha of the Kohen is still a matanas kahuna, that the Kohen has to get it, but the Kohen can give it to anyone to eat. The chulin nechshav, because it's like chulin, like in quotes the just reading the chinuch, because the pasuk says Yochleinu Tamei Bator Yachtav K'tzi V'Chayo, and he says
that's talking about
even a tummy could eat it. So obviously there's no kedusha, because if it would be kodesh, the tummy wouldn't be allowed to eat it. He said the chen kasser ramban. I think the chen kasser ramban is not going on the another mum. I think the chen kasser ramban is like those yesh meforshim that say mamtin till it gets a mum, and you're not no jealous. Okay, so let's see the Minchas Chinuch. Im nafal bo mum yochol the chulin hu nechshav kavanaso da filu legoy. Now he's saying a chiddush that when the Chinuch says you could give it to anyone includes that it's mamash chulin. Just like chulin you could give to a goy to eat, you could give this to a goy to eat also. And that's what he meant, l'chol adam, not necessarily even a Jew. V'chein mebur b'ramam kan perik aleph halacha gimel, lahedja that you could give it to a goy. V'chein kasav harav mechaber in Parashas Korach, the Chinuch himself in Parashas Korach, which I don't remember, mitzvah shin and gimel that you could give it to a goy. V'ayin tos l'choras lam abezer and abezer yamasko pasak b'harash sham gam kain pasku kain that he could even give it to a goy. V'ayin sham mashakasu b'shein ba'al halachos gedolos, and I have no idea what the ba'al halachos gedolos said. I have a number, but I don't think I could. It says on my thing number 50. I don't know what it says 59, but I don't think I could see 59 on the bottom. Do you have anything on about what the Ba'al Halachos Gadol says?
No.
What? No. Well, anyway, but it seems to be pretty. I don't know what the Ba'al Halachos says, but it seems to be pretty pashut that when it says l'chol adam, it means it's chulin. If you say a kami could eat it, so you don't even a Jew to eat it, even a goy can eat it, and you can give it to a goy l'chatchila.
It's a goy who gives it. I mean, it's a kohen who gives it.
Well, the kohen, it's manas kuna, so it has to go to the kohen. But the kohen, once he gets it, it could be given to anyone to eat, even a goy. Now he says, but are you allowed to feed it to a kelev? Because I guess the idea is it's chulin, but before it was once kachim, and maybe it's not nice. I don't know what the shaila is. He's going to say it because what he seems to say, except for we don't know the Ba'al Halachos Gadol, but everyone else, all the Rishonim say you could give it to a goy to eat. Now he said, can you feed it to a dog? Das tosas v'rash the gam l'kapim mutter lachel. It's like chulin, so you could give it to a kelev also. Kain near midivreim. He says if you look up Tosas the Rosh Shom, I guess it's in Bechoros over there in the base, which quoted before. It's near. It seems to be it's not 100% clear, but that's what it seems that they would agree that it's mamash chulin, and just like chulin you could feed to a dog, you could give this to a dog also. Abu das harash b'chulin per b'him makasha daf samachtas and beis v'aran sham to the klavim asur lahachil b'chor balmu. You're not allowed to give it to a dog. It doesn't say why. V'ayin shach yeredeya semen shenvav sifkan ches. Daito the Eino Mukha Tosla rushed to Smutter. Like he said before, it's not 100% clear that Tosla said it was Mutter, was Nira, but the Shach says it's not clear that it's Mutter Lachal according to Tosfos. And you have this Rashman Ran, I guess that's Machmer. The Hichmer says Halach Lamaisa, the Shach Paskin that was usher to give to a Kelev. Well, if he is Daito Nira came with Divya Ramam, the Rav HaMachaber, because they said they said he could give it l'chol adam. They didn't say he could give it to klavim. So he's saying that Minchas Chinuch saying it's meduyik also in the Rambam and the Chinuch that says l'chol adam. It says midlo kasu beferish rak l'goy. They said l'chol adam, which would include a goy, but they didn't say you give it to goy l'chol klavim usher. So he's making it's not such a strong diuk, but because they do say it's kechul and l'chol davar. Right? You continue the lesson of the chinuch, you give it to a goy because it's kechul and l'chol davar, but that l'chol would imply you could give it. It's kechul and l'chol davar, it's like it would imply you could give it. But he's being medayik, they only said he could give it to Adam. And he says, v'ayin ram perik tesma bikurim, halacha chaf l'inyan zroa l'chayim l'keva that are matnas kuna, and after the kohen gets it, the goy could eat it, kasa b'ferish, and there it says b'ferish, the rashoy litnan l'nachrim, o l'achlilam l'klavim. So you see, when they meant both, he's trying to show you, they say both. They say goy or klavim. But kan l'kasav came, here he only said goy. So near midvarav, to lahap l'klavim osir. That's only the kaladim it's mutter, not the klavim. And he's proving in his other cases, they say beferish both, and here they only said l'nachim. That would be matched like the shita said Rashba v'haran. Al-Kain, but I'm also saying, but yeah, but they go on to say this. They say it's like a chulin, right? And chulin would be a chulin you could give to a klavim, but I guess I hear his diak also. Okay, Al-Kain, he says vada yesh lahachri. Therefore, he says we should paskin like the shach halacha l'maisa, because this is no gay halacha l'maisa. Not nowadays about moon. You can give it to a Kohen, can you give it to klavim or not? So he says, Yesh lahach b'kedas hashach, because the shach said, we don't find Rishonim saying beferish that it's mutter, and you could get out of even the Tosos and Rosh Ramas, it is mutter, it's not so clear. And he said there is a shita that says the Rashba and the Rambam say it's osir, the shach said to be machmir, and he's being medayik that now from the Rambam in the Chinuch, who only said you could give it to chaladim, they didn't say you could give it to a goy. Why didn't they say that? It says the Kfar Pilpul was Rishonim v'Achronim. He says this is the whole shayla in the Rishonim and the Achronim if they could give it to klavim. What the shayla is, I don't know. If it's chulin, why should it be us? Unless they mean it's like since it was kodesh, it's like a shtickle bizayin to give it to a kela. Torah still has some days also begiz of avoda, so maybe it's not right to give it to klavim. I don't know, but I think that's the Rabbanah took a shayla, not the race took a shayla, but I don't know.
It's an interesting. I mean, do we have any other case where something is? I mean, his case we hear about the matanas kahuna. There's no difference. You can do it. So do you have another case that you can give it to a goy, but you can't give it to? Because if it's in the chefsa, then it's chul. I mean, it's like a unique category of something.
Yeah, but I told you, you see, it's not cool in the Gansan, because according to the Torah, it doesn't really use it, but it seems to be, it does have some I don't know what you call that, kedusha, something in Israel. I don't know what it's called. But I think they use the term kedusha by it as far as giza order, but I don't know what that is. Or maybe it's time they hold since it was kaddish, mamash had kedusha saguf, but it became a balmum. Or maybe it's not true by a balmum. Maybe there's a difference between if it became a balmum, then it's more of a bizarre touching than if it was a balmum originally. Maybe there's I don't know.
It's 9:38.
We have till
9:45.
We have, I think, till 9:45, even maybe a little bit more. We certainly will try to do the next one. See.
Wait, they start Marv later?
They start Marv 9:45, but I think now it's even a few minutes after 9:45 because they make Krishna Bisman. I think they started. They try to do it 72 minutes when they
do 72 minutes.
They try. Or maybe 45 minutes. One shkia around 9. It's shkia is.
See, I count 50 minutes.
So maybe they count
Shabbos,
50.
So that was 9:54 last Shabbos.
Okay, so I think they try. I think they do it between 9:45 and 9:50. They start. The last few days, there's a sign up. I think it even says 9:49. But we'll stop it. Let's just a little bit more. But
no, it's fine.
They just do more. So they're probably doing 45 minutes for Krishna. Not 72 because I think Shkia is is after 9, right?
Shkia is between 9:04. It was 9:04.
Okay, so they probably do Krishna 45 minutes after.
Yeah.
That's probably
interesting.
Okay, so I think it said, pretty sure it said 49. Dini mitzvah. So now the next line in the Chinuch was, he said it was like chulin, and he said he's not going to explain b'chadam more in this. He'll explain it when he gets to their mitzvahs. And then he speaks about the hashkafa, the shorshei mitzvah, that the first thing you should give to Kadosh Baruch Hu, to realize everything's from Kadosh Baruch Hu. And then he says, Dinei HaMitzvah, Be'ezeh Makom Neshcha B'Nachal, where you have to shecht it, and where it can be eaten, and what the times are for giving the B'chor, and how long, and stuff like that. He says that you have to look in the Gemaras. So now the Chinuch, we're going to get mental Chinuch. Dinei HaMitzvah, Be'ezeh Makom Neshcha, Va'ad eze zman, how long do you have? He says, Hinei b'chor tam, if the b'chor is a tam, which is going to be used as a korban, you give to the Kohen. And he says, Mamash has, we said at birth it has Kedusha. It was a machlokas tanoim if you have to be makdash b'peh also. But even if you're not makdash b'peh, and you hold you should, but it's not makiv and it still has a Kedusha's korban, so it has to be shechted. It's like a shlamim, right? It's like a kachim kalim. He says it's nishkat ba'azara in the base of Mikdash, v'nechal b'Yushalayim, like all kachim kalim, it has to be eaten in Yerushalayim, not in the Azara, but kachim kalim can be eaten within the walls of Yerushalayim. The Kohanim, and the only people that could eat a Bechor Tam are the Kohanim and their wives, Ul Nashayim, Ul Avdayim, and their Avadim. Kedin, that's the same general rule by any Kachim Kalim, it could be eaten by even the parts that go to the Kohanim. Here the whole Bechor goes to the Kohanim, but it could be eaten by their wives and Avadim. Ayin Ramam Kan Perek Aleph Halacha Beis, Ul Behilchos Maisa Karbanas Perek Hey, Ul Perek Tes, Ul Perek Yud, Ayin Sham. That's by a time. The Bechor Baal Mum, which is not a korban, and you don't have to be poted even. It's Nishcha B'chol Makom. It could be shechted any place in the world. The Nechel, and it could be eaten also any place in the world. And Afilu Yosem Mishnei Yom B'Layla, even though a korban has to be eaten even a shlamim, you have 2 days and a night. But he says this is not a korban, so you have whatever you want as long as the meat stays fresh and not spoiled. El b'chor tam eino nechal el shnei yamim b'layla, because the b'chor tam is like a korban shlamim, and you have shnei yamim b'layla. Ayin hakol b'shas. The Rambam kan Perek Aleph Halacha Gimel and Makom Hanal. So I don't think there's any chidushim over there that a b'chor tam is a korban. And it's like a korban shlamim, so it has to be shechted b'azar and eaten in Yerushalayim, because it's kachim kalim. And the Kohen has to eat it, but he could give it to his wife and kids, and avadim even though they're not even Jews. They're avadim, they're Kananis, and they could eat it. But b'chor Baal Mum is not a korban at all, so it could be shechted any place and eaten any place. And there's no time limit of Shnei Yamim V'Layla.
When he says Avadim, that has to be Eved Kanani, not that year when you could take someone in before making him Eved Kanani, but he's your Eved like in that year.
I think it has to be an Eved Kanani.
Has to be an Eved Kanani.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think it has to be an Eved Kanani.
Yeah, I would think so in terms of status. Okay.
V'nei, number 9. Mitzvah Lechol HaBechor Toch Shnasel. There's a mitzvah in the Torah to eat the Bechor within the first year of the Bechor. Bein Tam, Bein Balmum. In other words, he's saying there's a mitzvah to eat a Tam, which has to be eaten by the Kohanim or his, like we said before, his wives or children. Ubein Balmum, and there's a mitzvah to eat a Balmum, and that doesn't have to be eaten by a Kohen. It has to be given to the Kohen, but anyone could eat it if the Kohen gives him rishus to eat it. And that's a mitzvah's essay, the eating. Shenemer b'Torah, because there's a pasuk in Devarim. Lifnei Hashem lokachim tachlanu shana be'shana. Chem, so it means within the first year. The chem v'vur b'shas b'choras, perek ad kama, daf chapav beis, Rambam kan, perek aleph halacha ches. Vayin lechamishn, and I do not know what the lechamishn says. V'im no the lo mum tol shana. So let's say you had a bechor that was a tam. So let's say it was born in Nisan Aleph, so you have till the next Nisan Aleph to eat it, and then it got a mum in the middle of the year. Don't think the year starts when it became a Baal Mum. You're still beholden to eat it, even though you're not going to eat it as a korban anymore, but you're going to eat it as a Baal Mum, whoever eats the Baal Mum, but it still has to be within the year from its, I think it's not from when it's born, I think it's from the 8th day, because that's when you give it to the Kohen and its royal akrava, but not to the Tam. So, but it has to be within that year, because it goes from the year. It doesn't go by the month Tishrei, but it goes from the 8th day on, right? So even if it gets a Baal Mum in the middle of the year, I don't think the year changes. You still have the original year. Ach im nolad mum achar shana. So let's say you waited till after the year, which you weren't supposed to do, and then it got a Baal Mum, or he said Bizman Azeh, like nowadays we said the din was, according to the last portion, Mamtin, right, until it gets a Mum. So there you wait more than the year, you can't eat it until it gets a Mum, so there's no mitzvah to eat it within the year. and then you waited until it got a mum, and it got a mum, let's say, after 15 months, he says, Bizman Hazeh, he says, Mum Akashana, and Bizman Hazeh, Vayotzarach Lahamtin, like he's giving you an example, but you had to wait that Shipul Mum, Vikol Makam Nosan Lavakar Shana, Viyom Leda Samum, Od Shloshim Yom. So there's no more Indian of eating it within a year, but you give it 30, you have to eat it within 30 days after it got a mum. Amipnei Hashavas Aveda Labailim. So what kind of Hashavas Aveda Labailim is it? Kamavur B'Shat Sham Chav Ches Amanala. So I looked up, and I forgot already because I looked up what are we talking about Hashavas Aveda. So I think the point is what I remember, but let me try to remember, because if you let's say if you sheft it within the 30 days and you're going to wait longer, the meat's going to spoil. And you want, in other words, the Kohen is that you can't eat it, but the Kohen has the right to eat it, or else give it to his wives, or by a moment can give it to anyone. Right. But it's his to give. We don't want to ruin so he has financial interest over there in this Balmum. So if you're going to shecht it within the 30 days and let it hang around, the meat might spoil, and you'll be mafsid Kohen. You're not allowed to be mafsid someone. So the Gemara calls it Hashavas Aveda to the Kohen, that he shouldn't lose out. So the problem is only if you shecht it within the 30 days. Right. But it seems to me they made a low plug that he should get it in 30 days. I'm not so sure. I could look that up, but let's just finish. Maybe you'll say. But the more uses the expression that it should be eaten within 30 days because of Hashavas Aveda, which is certainly not the Dereisa Hashavas Aveda. It means we don't want the Kohen to lose his financial interest over there. B'vur b'shas.
What about the possibility of the moon actually, eventually
making it right?
Or the mum. Oh, what's that? If the mum is actually life-threatening, then you have a problem with trephus anyways. Right. So
can't eat it.
Can't eat it anyways. So it has to be a mum that's not really a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
So he says Nira. He says, look at Rashi, and he says Nira midvar of Damskim have bechor who ate to Yisrael. So then the problem is, if the Yisrael is going to shecht it within the 30 days, it might spoil before he gives it to the Kohen. Who ate to Kohen? Ain't no since man clown. There is no Indian of 30 days. Avutos Hashem ibnei kasu the gamla Kohen knows in shloshim yom miyom shenola ramum. Right? I guess he holds it's a low plug, I guess. V'im nola muam tesla yom. Now it's a new case. If it got a mum 15 days before the first year was over, choden tashon hashana, nosim alach or hashana rak tesla yom. So you have the 15 days of that year, and then you give him another 15 days. Haklal shloshim yom yom hamum. Umediber ramim kan perak alav halachates neragam kain kediber yatosis. That even by the Kohen is a problem of 30 days, and this din of 15 and 15. Shalachiluk bein who waits for Kohen waits Yisrael, because according to Rashi, the only Indian of Hashavas Aveda when it was by the Yisrael, but according to Tosos there was no chiluk, and he said the Ram is not mechalik, he just says 30 days, he doesn't make a chiluk. So it's also mashmas time the chemish of an arthur day submission vavsi ches ein mevur chiluk. There's no chiluk between the Kohen and the Yisrael. So we're going to stop here.